Hi, 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 everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Maybe It's Me. Please subscribe, like, and comment on this podcast if you want to be the best. I heard that when you do, you get an immediate gift from the universe, and your aura points increase significantly. I'm just repeating what I heard. I hope you all had a good week and have some time to rest and recuperate to do it all over again. If you didn't, shame on you. Just kidding. I wish it for you in the future. This week, we have reached over 75 downloads. I also recently checked my Apple Podcast stats and I received over 120 plays and 20 subscribers. Also, to toot my own horn, from the past 30 days, I reached a peak position of number 125. To my three supporters, my picnic date, thank you so much for giving me a newfound appreciation for stepping out and doing something with myself. It's such a peculiar phenomenon being 22. It's like, I know I'm doing everything I can do at this point in life, but I'm ready and eager for more. I see how life is set for me. I have to put in effort and determination for the outcome to be what I imagined. I know it would be hard and take a lot of my will, but I'm hesitant as I say, I'm ready. Along with the list of things I'm ready for, summer is on the brink of ending. Excuse me, but I'm so fucking ready for it to be over. This sun whooped my ass. I just can't believe this was the same sun our parents forced us to go out and play under. I know it's due to global warming, but damn, what makes it worse is the humidity. I don't know where you're listening to this, but in Atlanta, I remember looking at the weather and it stated that it's 89 degrees, but it feels like 101. I'm also recording this at 4 in the morning with no sleep, and it's 76 degrees. Like, what? I'm so over it. This summer, I wasn't outside. If anything, I forgot summer even existed. It did a complete 180 on how I expected things to go. I spent my summer basically healing over a breakup. I was distracted, focusing on other aspects of my life. I forgot the time had passed and I didn't even think of him as much. I remember the first time we broke up because he cheated. I was crying profusely to my mother, and she was telling me the things every mother would say to you after your first relationship. Life goes on. He is not your world. You will pick yourself up and ask yourself, why are you even crying over him? The crazy part is that I can't even get myself to cry over it now. I could talk about the endless encounters that I've experienced in a relationship until your ears grow bored of it and decide to detach themselves and walk away. But what good does that do for me or anyone else, really? What I can do, however, is take accountability, realize what it was, and use that information for good. That is what we will be talking about in today's episode: accountability. Dun, dun, dun. Accountability is a simple word, but has scary connotations. It plays a part in life and plays a heavy one in mine. You know, as Pisces, it's unanimous that we tend to avoid accountability. So, to add balance to the bad traits we have, I want to own up to my shit. Throughout life, I have gone through my struggles living as a victim. No matter the severity or what caused the effect, I was adamant that these troubles shouldn't happen to me. In my head, I convinced myself that if I was good, I didn't deserve bad, whether that was friends, relationships, parents, social status, anything. I was so stuck in a loop that whenever something happened to me, I would ask for advice on what I should do regarding the situation. It would get so detrimental that if I didn't have anyone to talk to, I would feel beaten. You know you're down bad and people pleasing when you're constantly on Reddit or Quora regarding situations on how you should move. Y'all helped me through a lot. Looking back on my identity 4 years ago and how I'm different now made me come to this episode. 4 years ago, I was vibrant and just all over the place, but I was quote unquote happy because I was around people and recognized. I didn't care about my behavior because it was likable and I wanted to be liked. As long as I had my friends, life was kosher. Do you know my little story about my school friends in the first episode? That wasn't the first time my feelings were disregarded, and it wouldn't be the last. Birthdays were not a big deal during my school years, but were important in interacting with others. At the time, some were more important than others in my friend group, and you would realize where you lay when it was your turn. To highlight, 4 years ago, I had incorporated the plan to have a hotel party for my birthday, and I invited my friends to come with me. None of them came to save you the dramatics and had their unique excuses for why they couldn't come. To add salt to the wound, I remember a friend saying they couldn't go because they didn't have a ride. I offered that friend an Uber, and they didn't even bother to respond until the day after. Life has a funny way of repeating cycles until you finally wake up and learn the lesson. 3 years later, I was going on vacation for my 21st birthday and invited two of my closest friends whom I love so much. I recently quit my job at the time due to mistreatment, and I felt so defeated that I needed a break in any way possible. I planned this trip in January. Keep in note, my birthday is in March, and decided to pay for most of it myself, only asking them for $100, even saying that my boyfriend would take them with us at the time. They agreed and were happy to celebrate with me. Fast forward to March, they ghosted me, avoided my texts, and I started to get the suspicions that they didn't want to go. It was 12 hours before my birthday. I kid you not. I finally got one of them to answer why they've been avoiding me. The excuses they decided to come up with is that they have midterms. I planned this too late as they're in college with responsibilities. If I were in college, I would understand. The world does not revolve around me. I was livid, upset, and filled with emotions brought up by experiences that seemed all so familiar. The discourse between us got so bad by me and one friend, I eventually told her the excuses were whack and fuck her. She replied saying fuck me and my birthday, and she would pull up and stomp on my glasses after blocking her. I hate people so bad. My ex was so mad at everything transpiring that he cussed her out on my behalf. I remember crying the whole 6 hour drive to Myrtle Beach. Every time I stopped, the tears continued. Even recalling the experiences and the feelings that come with it, my heart dropped 6 feet under because of how saddening I truly felt. I was next to a beach, an endless amount of water, something I love more than life itself, and I couldn't even enjoy it. I was heartbroken. If I was accountable, I would have saved myself from endless encounters I've dealt with friends. I'm not saying that I mastered the concept. If anything, I'm just like everyone else. I always fuck up. I'm aware I would keep bad company because I feared having none. I would be friends with a squirrel if that meant I wouldn't be alone with my thoughts. I tell you, it's easier and more comfortable to cry wolf about your past than to own it, face the issues at hand, and move on. This harsh truth became clear to me when I lost the connection with friends I never expected. because of my annoying cycle of repeating the past and the victim mentality that I held firmly. When you're stuck on a routine, you don't realize the detrimental effects of those around you until they're not there anymore. All the chaos in my life felt normal to me. I felt like it was destined for me to come across it. I was used to it because that's how I was raised. My parents were emotionally distant, and I always say I was never a child. I was always an adult before the age of 18. I parented my parents to some degree as they were going through what life threw at them. My mother has anxiety and would question the things that I would do as a child, which only worsened mine, making me apprehensive of every action I decided to take in life. I was shut down whenever I got upset at things my parents did. I grew to have sympathy and empathy for them as I realized they're only human and have their own trauma to face. I also learned that raising a multifaceted child like me couldn't be easy, who questioned everything and dealt with thoughts bigger than my young nature. I internalized that I deserved to be mistreated and had no reason to be angry growing up. With this, I subconsciously seek relationships with emotionally distant people. I often circle to my past relationship only because it truly helped me become self aware of my patterns and flaws. He was chronically late, a red flag, friends with sexual partners and exes, another red flag, and often put others' feelings above mine, red flags galore. After knowing my ex for years, since I was 18 and he was 22, but initially meeting him when I was 16, I asked him what trauma he had, and my ex replied that he had none. It felt like a slap to the face that he willingly lied to me, knowing that I could see and state the trauma for him. At that moment, I realized maybe this wasn't good for me, and I felt like I honestly didn't know him. That led to a big argument, which resulted in me walking around my neighborhood at 1 a.m., cussing him out, hanging up, and calling each other over 20 times. It was just toxic and not cute at all. Throughout that relationship, love was slowly replaced with resentment and anger at putting myself in that position and not having the courage to leave. I bring up that moment to share transparency that I had many chances to walk away, but my need to fix him was more than my love for myself. If I held myself accountable, I could have saved myself the emotional pain. It's funny that when I first started taking therapy, she asked me if I was in a relationship, and I told her that I was and what was going on with it. She was only consistent with saying that I should leave my ex. Did I leave him? Nope. I even brought up that we should take couples therapy together as I was eager to make it work, which he declined. Imagine being 21, volunteering for couples therapy. Like, what the fuck? She was a black Christian woman. She always gave me homework to help myself. She also helped me overcome my fear of driving. So that lady will forever be good in my book. The only reason I stopped going is because $70 an hour to speak about 2 decades worth of trauma doesn't seem promising to me. Well, I also didn't want her to know that I was still talking to the man, even though we both knew it wasn't good for me. What's even funnier was that I got a reading by a tarot reader after our first breakup, and he told me I dodged a bullet. He also told me to date, play around with business, and practice patience. I even got a reader from a separate tarot reader months later, and she even told me to let the connection go and get back focused. Do you think I still left? No. I stayed until I couldn't stay anymore. Now, I try to face my problems from a logical perspective rather than an emotional one, emphasizing the trying part. If I'm not writing in my journal, trust that a voice memo will be heard. My journal is more organized with the articulated process of my thoughts, while my voice memos sound like my phone calls after I put two and two together. I know I am responsible for my actions, reactions, successes, and failures. My past does not define my present, and it definitely won't define my future. It feels good, but scary knowing that I am in control of what life has for me. For this journey to be worth it, I must give myself grace for my shortcomings and be honest. I need to be able to take criticism and apologize if I've hurt someone's feelings. I need to learn to follow my gut instincts and stop overcommitting, which causes me to procrastinate. Lastly, I'm making amends to my past to focus on the gift of the present. Focus on the present. Even though, like JT said, I'm still mad about shit that happened 20 years ago. That does nothing to nobody but stunts my growth. It sucks to let the victim mentality go, but I must heal. Ugh, I hate growing up. Please take what you can from this and apply it yourself. If I didn't get you with anything, be honest. It's easy to live a facade and go through life as if you have nothing to work on. It won't be much help to you, but hinder the time for you to face your shit. Work, 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 work. I'm so tired. Anywho, thank you all for listening to another episode, and I'll probably release another one later this week. Let's see. I wish you all blessings and a good one.